All right, let's get into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Risiko 2025. This is a really important report from Norway's National Security Authority, and it paints a pretty stark picture of the threats we're facing. Everything from digital sabotage to these kind of hidden vulnerabilities that could affect, well, all of us.
Just a quick heads up before we really jump in, everything we're about to talk about is based on the public, open-source Risiko 2025 report. We're doing this purely for educational purposes to break it all down for you.
Okay, so the report does not ease you in. It kicks right off with this bombshell from the Norwegian Police Security Service, the PST. The message here is incredibly blunt. Sabotage isn't just possible, it's likely. And the next time we hear about it might be after it's already happened. That really sets the urgent tone for this entire document. So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the big picture, this new reality. Then, we'll get into the specifics of physical and digital threats. After that, we'll uncover some of the hidden systemic vulnerabilities in our society. And finally, we'll talk about the most important part. What do we actually do about it?
The core message of the report, really the whole foundation, is that the game is completely changed. That era of what they call deep peace we've had since the Cold War, yeah, that's over. It's been replaced by a constant, nagging state of threat from state actors across every possible domain.
Now, what's really fascinating is how these states are operating. They're increasingly using what the report calls proxy actors. Think about it. They recruit individuals or small groups, often online, who might just be in it for the money. These proxies carry out the attack, and because they have no formal ties to the state, it gives the real culprit total plausible deniability. It's incredibly clever and incredibly hard to trace. And listen, this isn't just some academic theory. The report points to real-world stuff that's happened just in 2024. We're talking GPS jamming that's messing with aviation, mysterious fires in major cities, digital attacks on railways. This is the kind of low-tech but high-impact activity that's making the PST so concerned. It's already happening. Okay, so let's move on to the physical threats. And what becomes really clear really fast is that this isn't just about someone trying to break down the front door. Actually, one of the biggest risks is already on the inside.
This is a huge takeaway. Modern espionage isn't always spies and trench coats. Foreign intelligence is now using platforms like LinkedIn as a hunting ground. They profile employees, find potential vulnerabilities, and then try to recruit them. They're using our digital lives to gain physical access to buildings or logical access to a company's most sensitive data.
So what do? Well, the report is very practical here. It's not just about doing a background check when you hire someone. It's about constant vigilance. You have to train your people to spot a recruitment attempt, have clear rules about what's okay to post online, and, most importantly, create a culture where someone feels safe to say, hey, this weird thing happened, without fear of getting in trouble.
It's no surprise that the digital world is a primary battlefield here. The report really digs into some key trends that are defining the cyber threat landscape right now, showing us new ways we're vulnerable and old attack methods that just keep working.
Now, this chart is so revealing. You might think attackers are going straight for the big targets, right? Like the power grid or the banks. But look at this. A whopping 63% of incidents are happening in the high-tech and business sectors. Why? Well, because attackers are smart. They see these sectors as a soft entry point, a side door into the supply chains of much bigger, more secure targets like defense and government.
Okay, you really need to understand this because it shows why multi-factor authentication isn't the magic fix we all thought it was. In an adversary-in-the-middle attack, the hacker's server literally sits between you and the real website. You put in your password, it gets passed along. Then you get that MFA push notification on your phone, and when you approve it, you think you're logging in. But you're not. You're actually approving the hacker's login. It's terrifyingly effective.
So, how in the world do you defend against that? The report's recommendation is crystal clear. You have to move to phishing-resistant authentication. Things like passkeys. The tech behind this basically locks your login credentials to the real, legitimate website. It makes it technically impossible for you to accidentally authenticate on a fake site, no matter how convincing it looks.
So beyond the direct hacks and sabotage, the report points to these deeper, systemic vulnerabilities. These are the things we all depend on but rarely ever think about, and they could be exploited with some truly devastating consequences. Let's just stop and think about a vulnerability that's totally invisible to most of us. Our complete and utter dependence on precise synchronized time. And you know where almost all of that comes from? Satellites. GPS. This table just lays bare how fragile our modern world is. I mean, if time is off by a few seconds, okay, a bank transaction fails. It's annoying. But look down the list. If it's off by just a few microseconds, that's millionths of a second, the 5G network starts to fail and the power grid becomes unstable. A 1 millisecond error in GPS timing means your navigation is off by 300 kilometers. Our entire digital infrastructure is built on this foundation of unbelievably precise time.
And here it is. This is the real bombshell the report drops. Despite everything we just saw, this absolute dependency on time signals from space, Norway has no national, land-based backup. Those satellite signals can be jammed, they can be faked, and if they go down, there is no plan B. This creates a single point of failure for the entire nation. It's a massive strategic risk.
And all of this leads us to the report's final, ultimate conclusion. It's a direct challenge to leaders, to policymakers, to all of us in this field. The time for just assessing risk and writing reports about it, that time is over.
The director of the NSM just perfectly captures the whole point of the report in this one quote. It's basically a plea to stop just talking a good game on security and to start actually doing the hard work. It's about shifting the entire culture from passively admiring the problem to actively fixing it.
So if you're in crisis and emergency management, these are the action items. First, you have to accept that sabotage is a real thing you need a plan for. Second, security can't be an afterthought. It has to be baked into everything you do, especially when you're buying new tech or services. Third, get off the sidelines and start implementing real controls. And finally, build resilience. Assume things will break and have backups and well-practiced contingency plans ready to go.
Ultimately, the report leaves all of us with this one very provocative question. It's a challenge, really, aimed at every single organization, whether you're public or private. It forces you to look in the mirror and ask, is our security just a policy sitting on a shelf, or is it something we actually do every single day?
As we said at the start, our entire explainer today was based on the Risiko 2025 report from the Norwegian National Security Authority. Hey, if you found this breakdown useful and want to see more on crisis management and national security, be sure to follow Crisis Compass. Thanks for tuning in.